they're just playing it up. It's not as if we should get scared by it. One or two units deployed don't make a difference. And if needed, we're going to deter you. And their idea of deterrent is by punishment. That is, they'll punish us and hence deter us. The most pessimistic view says May 15th, but my view is a little different. We might pull out of it faster than we think. And that's what was it last time. But we are better prepared. But one important thing which has come out, I hope this will continue, that we have not accepted anything from China. We have not asked anything from China. And if you look back, no country has asked anything from China. I think that is a major thing which China should take home. Last year, in the same situation, you would have probably gone to China to buy PPE, mask, all that. Today, no one is doing that. Isn't it significant that you're no more dependent on China? My own feeling is that when that happens, there'll be a lot of chaos in Pakistan. Right? There are issues, and they don't have state capacities. China is not inoculated. Their vaccines are not effective, and definitely their vaccines are not going to be effective against these new mutants. If against the old thing it didn't happen, against the new ones it will not happen. Look, don't expect the Indian Army to be sitting on its punches anymore.
Hello and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi. Today I'm once again privileged to be joined by Lt Gen Ravi Shankar. Lt Gen Ravi Shankar, TVSM, AVSM, BSM, a retired Director General of the Artillery in the Indian Army, alumni of the National Defence Academy, Karakwasla, Defence Services Staff College, Wellington, and the Army War College, Mao, Naval Postgraduate School, Monterey, and the National Defence College, New Delhi. He has held many and important command, staff, and instructional positions during his time in the Indian Army and has faced various different operational requirements and situations in his vast expanse of a career. Today, he's an accomplished military and strategic thinker, an author of more than 200 articles, and I have personally had the privilege of talking to General Shankar over 10 times on various different subjects. So thank you once again, sir, for joining us today and telling us what the latest situations are going to come up in front of India with vis-a-vis China as well as COVID.
Thanks a lot, Aadi. Thanks for calling me over. It's a very current topic, China, COVID, and whatever it is. Before you shoot, I must tell you, I'm wearing an old T-shirt, which is my squadron. Right, I don't let it go, or my NDA. Right? And so, thanks.
Nice to see those colors again, sir. I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Sir, one of the recent reports that we saw, and you've also done a talk about it in another forum. I saw that talk, very interesting. Is the deployment of MLRs or the rocket launchers, along with air defense radars, artillery exercises which are being conducted by the Chinese. What are the significance of these deployments on the current situation, and how do you see this going forward?
See, first and foremost, this deployment is not new. They must have done it earlier also. So the first report of this came around 2019 when they showed it in the October parade. And that's when they also said they fired it in high altitude and all that. It's nothing new. But what is significant of this particular report which came in the South China Morning Post is that now they're talking, look, all these reports which come out, they convey a message. What is the message? We have MLRs here, and if needed, we're going to deter you. And their idea of deterrent is by punishment. That is, they'll punish us and hence deter us. One. And number two is that there's one military expert of theirs called Zhang Jinping, who normally keeps commenting on all these current military affairs. And he feels that MLRS of this nature is required to deter India because we are doing reinforcing and rebalancing. and he feels that this is has got, and to deter you need a range of excess of 100 kilometers, whatever his logic is, but he feels that is it. I did some analysis. There are two varieties of rockets which are being deployed there. One is got about 300 plus kilometers, one is about 160 kilometers. So, well, it has got its plus and minuses, but it's deployed more as a deterrent. My view is that it is deployed essentially to offset the problems he has in air, right? They're just playing it up. It's not as if we should get scared by it. One or two units deployed don't make a difference, right? So if you don't have enough air, the other alternative is missiles and rockets. I mean, that's an age-old thing, because you have to make up your air power somehow. Air power is the sum total of rockets and missiles and air, manned and unmanned. So that's where it is. I don't see it more, and we have enough to counter it.
So, what about the fact that what kind of an impact would something like this happen have on the obviously upcoming negotiation for the depth song, the Gogra, uh, and the other areas that are in contention today?
See,
Will it have an advantage seeking sort of a position from the Chinese?
I zero. There's no advantage, no disadvantage. He's just saying that I have it and I might use it. So what if? I mean, you, and this is normal China, no? China will propagate all these things. So I have this, I have that, and they go. Part of building up a halo, part of scaring you, and you have to be alive to it. That's about all. I mean, you have enough. We have enough. I don't think we need to discuss that in this forum. Yeah,
It's basically soft messaging is what China is trying to do here.
it's not soft. It's quite hard. It's quite overt also.
But yeah,
But yeah, but I wouldn't bother beyond a point.
Hmm.
Yeah, these are part of the normal plays which go on. Yeah.
So when we talk about China, one big thing that comes to mind is the COVID situation in India. It is, of course, a huge, huge challenge to the country today with the kind of cases that are coming in. We do see a respite one odd day of some more recoveries or some more vaccinations or something like that. But if I may say the phrase, the damn thing is a big challenge. How do you think COVID, keeping India busy would and having the kind of issues that India has today would affect the geopolitics of the region, one along with China? Why I mention China is I'm sure some of us would have seen the news of the Chinese blocking some of our medical supplies that were coming. So on one hand, they announced their support, on the other, they blocked the supplies. So China is one, Pakistan is the second. And of course, I'm sure a lot of the viewers would love to hear your opinion about the small little fiasco that took place with the United States.
Okay. See, first and foremost, let's see what's the situation today in India. 2 days back, I think it was pretty bad, pretty awful. Not that it has improved, but today, 48 hours later, there are signs of improvement.
Hmm.
I mean, take into account, so far nothing has come from outside. Okay, without anything coming from outside, we've been able to mobilize our own oxygen resources. So oxygen seems to be stable. There might be a few shortages here and there, but generally the TV doesn't talk about it anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you see the sheer numbers yesterday, in the past 24 hours, there's been a slight drop. Bombay is improving. Even Delhi, there's been a little small drop. It's a small drop. It's too early, yeah? I mean, to say. One day it might be 1,000 less, and next day it might shoot up to another 5,000. That's a different story. That's how coronavirus is. So overall, there's a slight drop, right? So it's not. It's some encouragement there. Yeah, deaths are bad, which is which is bad, right? But if you look at it from a slightly larger perspective, zoom out. What has gone bad? Uh, the metros and the population centers. The increase in cases in the villages and the rural areas is more in those states where there were mass gatherings and rallies and all that. I mean, if I just saw Tamil Nadu statistics, that's how it is.
Mm.
But the more affected are Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore. Now it's going up. Maybe Lucknow. I don't know. One of my friends said Lucknow is bad. Chennai is also high, but not much. Um, so it's a population. It is possible that somewhere I had read that because these population centers were earlier well protected, there was not much this thing, and people were quite aware. They skipped it, and thereafter they got a bit loose in the recent times, and the cases have just shot up. And that's the nature of Corona; it will just explode on you one day. And that this explosion has been something absolutely unprecedented, and it caught us flat-footed. Let's face fact, and there are enough uh, holes which have appeared in our firmament, whether it's leadership or organization or everything. But we'll not get into that. The fact is, this is not the time for a postmortem. This is the time to actually perform the surgery. So let's operate on the system, which is improving. So I am not, and look at it another 15, 20 days. The most pessimistic view says May 15th, but my view is a little different. We might pull out of it faster than we think, and that's what was it last time. But we are better prepared. Why do you need help from outside? Let's look at it. It is to cater for the worst case situation. If in case you are unable to control the situation and it keeps exploding, then your resources get stretched. At this point of time, you're almost at breaking point. If the number of cases and the number of recoveries balance out, you slowly start surfacing out. And right, but if that equation doesn't go, you need outside help. Right? Okay. Now you spoke about USA, you spoke about Pakistan, you spoke about China. So let's take each one separately. No, China has done the trick. On one hand, they said we'll help you, on the other hand, they're not helping us. But that's China, right? They've also shown out a cartoon which says, where Uncle Sam is controlling the tap, and they've shown an elephant sitting there, and so they're taking a pot shot at this relationship and all that. But their thing is, you have to expect this from China. Let's not expect any pity from China. They'll exploit the situation to the hilt, and we shouldn't mind it. Let them do what they want. But one important thing which has come out, I hope this will continue, that we have not accepted anything from China. We have not asked anything from China. And if you look back, no country has asked anything from China. I think that is a major thing which China should take home. Why is it that no one has asked? See, we've gone asked USA, we've probably gone asked EU, we've asked Australia, Japan, all those, but we have not asked China. And no one has asked China. Even at the height of the COVID crisis last year, USA didn't request China. They bought. And they had to pay through their nose. Okay. And China made a lot of money on it. So no one's forgotten that. Right. The next important thing. Last year, in the same situation, you would have probably gone to China to buy PPE, mask, all that. Today, no one is doing that. Isn't it significant that you're no more dependent on China? So there are 2-3 strategic issues which have come out in this thing. You're not dependent on China. You don't want to go to China, right? No one is interested in China. These 3 things have come out absolutely clear. Okay. So let's go to Pakistan. Pakistan has made this play that we'll give you whatever we can and all. Okay, that's too small. That's okay. It's a good gesture. We'll accept it and thank the Prime Minister for offering that. But I think Pakistan itself is at a risk. It's a bigger risk. If things go bad there, see, India is a nation with a lot of resources. We could mobilize the resources and pull out of it. We are pulling out of it. The way I look at it, we are pulling out. Yeah, we'll suffer more. That's a given. You can't cut your losses beyond a level. But what happens in Pakistan? It goes down completely, right? So it will even worsen the situation which it is in. It doesn't have resources. It doesn't have money. It will be totally dependent on aid. So we should be prepared to aid it. Let's be very clear. We should be prepared to aid it, and why not? Humanitarian causes, we must give it far more aid, like we did in the earthquake earlier, 2005, if I remember. We went to the aid. So that is one. The second thing is, in this kind of a condition, while the China-Pakistan relationship will be good, there's no doubt. Pakistan, you take this condition plus the Afghan drawdown happening, instability, plus the TLP happening, plus the TTP has started because of that recent Quetta bomb blast in which they were, I believe, targeting the Chinese ambassador, or he missed it. All these things put together, if you're looking at a Pak, Sino-Pak, uh, you know, collusive attempt at this time to take advantage of India, it's not there. It will not happen. Okay. So if there's any threat which is to develop along the LAC, it will be solely China. But that's a different story, right? Now, as far as USA is concerned, I think more than anything, it is that one spokesperson who said, unless America gets well, it can't. It's good for the world if America becomes good, and right, and unless that happens, we can't help the world. He made a pretty, it was a faux pas, his statement, and that has generated a lot of angst and anti-US feelings, and USA has got the feedback, and suddenly it must have realized, oh look, what are we doing? And they are now overdoing the whole thing the other way around. Everyone wants to see what can we do, what can we do. But look, this is a democracy, and ours is a democracy. In democracies, these things happen. Someone must have told them, look, we had a problem, India gave you quinine, India gave you paracetamol, India gave you some items. In fact, some medical equipment also went from India. Small, but it went. And all this. And today, when they have a problem, you're not doing anything. So some bells would have rung. That's okay. I'm okay with it. Now, the good thing, because everything is a silver lining. So you'll get more, and they'll help you more, which is good. I have no issue with it. So, and it reinforces the Quad countries have come forward. Australia has given an offer. So has Japan. So has EU. So I think that's okay. We'll recover. And I today went out in Chennai. Yeah, the traffic is a little less, and I see more number of people wearing masks. It's not that but India is India. Not everyone wears a mask, but there's a little more consciousness which I see, which I saw today than earlier. Yeah.
So interesting your observations on Pakistan. One thing that one can see is, as it is the country is in turmoil, and you're kind of predicting a explosion of COVID. They're getting about 8-9,000 or between 7 to 9,000 cases a day, which obviously seems pretty heavy for a country like that, because they are locking down certain cities, certain areas, and stuff like that. What do you think will be the short-term implications if Pakistan does face something like this? We all joke around about Pakistanis begging around the place and stuff like that. That could be, I mean, it'll just be uncontrollable.
See, let's put it from a slightly different perspective. The numbers in Pakistan, as reported, mean nothing because right from beginning, their numbers are vastly underreported because they don't test enough. Unlike we've been doing testing, that they don't test enough, so they don't know. So if and when this explodes in Pakistan, you will only come to know through death, like we came to know in India. If it had not been the number of deaths going up, you would have not known the gravity of the situation. Okay, so that is the indication. My own feeling is that when that happens, there will be a lot of chaos in Pakistan. Right? There are issues, and they don't have state capacities. Forget the joking. People are going to die, and right, and so the state doesn't have capacities. So someone has to move in. Like I said earlier, someone has to help them out. Otherwise, there's going to be a bigger catastrophe than India. See, you have vaccines. All said and done, over 14 crore people have been vaccinated. In India, old people are not are quite safe, and you'll see this ramp up in vaccines happening now that you don't have a problem of raw material and all that. And maybe that's why I said in a couple of months you'll see a different picture. You've probably been pulling out of it, and with right, but they don't have anything. Can you imagine total 5 lakh vaccines they're likely to get or have just got? What is 5 lakhs for 200 million? Right? So they are in a problem. I mean, we must understand that. For them, registration for vaccines over 40 is commencing now, registration. And their earliest they're looking at is after Eid, June, July. So they are in a bad shape. We have, I mean, we have the capability to withstand this. We'll pull out. They don't. Let's see. Very tough times for them.
One does see a lot of frustration online, sir, with regards the name of the virus, which is making quite a round on the internet today. I personally like to call it the CCP virus. A lot of people will disagree with me or agree with me. I'm not very sure of that, but I call it the CCP virus. I've been doing so for a year. The Chinese, whatever said and done, there are a lot of China watchers. I mean, I would count you one of them as well. Have not spoken about the internal infections that the Chinese would be having. So they've been able to actually hold it tight. What does that tell you, sir? Because previously one could see some odd snippets. They would lock down Beijing, they would lock down Sichuan, this, that, here, there, and everything. Today it's gone silent. Is that an indication that the Chinese are now hardcore controlling everything, or things are actually back to normal with a 50% efficacy vaccine?
See, China, in my opinion, is in a precarious situation. I mean, let's assume that whatever is coming out of China is correct, and there are no more breakouts and all that. Though it might not, seems improbable. Let's assume that that's the case, and let's analyze it from a different point of view. USA has gone over the whole thing. They're vaccinated. In about 2-3 months, they'll be absolutely okay. I mean, I won't say absolutely okay, but they're well on the verge of recovery, and economy will start booming back. India, we have gone through a bad phase, and another 2 months, you'll see, 2-3 months, you'll recover. The vaccination will pick up, right? And people will become, after the second wave and so many deaths and all that, people will become a little more conscious of everything, and things will start. The same thing has happened in UK already. Israel and all are free all with vaccines, small countries. So this pullout of this, problem will start taking place. You might not rid yourself of the vaccine, but you know how to contend with it. You're inoculated. Now, the vaccine itself, you have some UK strain, you have some South African strain, you have a double mutant, you have something, all funny mutants, everything has happened, and they seem to be more virulent, more devastating, and the spread is so fast, uncontrollable. Oh, just think, China is not inoculated, their vaccines are not effective, and definitely their vaccines are not going to be effective against these new mutants. If against the old thing it didn't happen, against the new ones it will not happen. So they have a problem. This is something which has come out from them. I'm not saying so. There's one Zhang shows Nasha Zoshan or someone who is the head of their vaccination program and this chief scientist. He has said that look, if everyone else is vaccinated and China is not vaccinated, and he said our vaccines are not that good. After what he said, his thing has been taken off and no one knows where he is. That's a different story. So he has said this, which means there's a big risk. They have to protect themselves completely. And if an outbreak happens without good vaccines and without adequate vaccination done, they're going to have a problem. The risk, they might get over it, that's a different story. But the risk in China today of being affected and going back is very high. And this is as per them, not me. Again, everything has to be seen in relative terms. Because when USA is going up, when UK is going up, and India starts recovering, big economies start recovering. If they stay stagnant or goes down, they're gone. It's a relative thing. Today they're doing okay because they're able to control the vaccine, the virus the way it is. But not tomorrow's variants. There's a problem.
That's an
Right?
interesting hypothesis, and actually, that's an interesting observation. I would say that they've been isolating themselves for a while. The minute they open up, they're going to have an explosion.
They have to have, they will, it will come out, right? Or they have to do the vaccination, and their vaccination, notwithstanding whatever they're saying that will make this ramp up capacity, this, that, and all that, the vaccination is not going that much.
It's about
And in any case,
240, yeah.
whatever, it's going to take a long time before everyone is vaccinated in China. They don't have that capacity, and it's not an effective vaccine. And the variant, the coronavirus variants or the COVID variants are more lethal, isn't it? So, I mean, that's a fact. So, the overall risk for China is more than anyone else. We've been ravaged, okay, fine. But you'll come out of it, no? I mean, the chance of getting attacked are, whatever damage has to be done has done. That is the difference. Whatever damage has been happened in USA has happened. Now it is on the upswing. Same thing will happen in those countries which are very effective vaccines. But what will happen to this country which doesn't have vaccines effective, more variants and all protected? That means they'll keep going with masks and this and that and all those controls, which means relatively they'll go down. That's a whole story. I mean, that's a long and short of it.
That's a scary situation once again, sir.
Yeah, it's not scary. That's what China has opted to do. So they'll handle it. I'm sure they know about it. It doesn't take me to tell them. They know their own story. Yeah.
I think they know it too well, sir.
Yeah. And you see, another thing is because you are having all these infections and everything, you are building a database
Correct.
about handling this whole story that they don't have anymore. Initially, they refused to everyone. They refused this to everyone. And next, very importantly, it's what has come out. China doesn't have technology. It can keep talking what it wants. It's others who have technology who
That's
can
true, sir.
handle this.
And I think why one can say that is just by what we were talking about, the vaccine efficacy.
Yeah.
Some
They
people
were the
say
first
that
ones. They were the first ones to start vaccination. If you remember last year, they said, "Oh, we're going to come out with the vaccine," and we've started vaccinating and this and that and all that, right? And the vaccines are not effective. Now they don't have enough cases for development. See, a lot of development takes place through disease. If you don't have the disease, how can you have an antidote? It's very fundamental. भाई बुखार है तो तभी तो पैरासिटामोल खाओगे.
correct.
है ही नहीं तो आपके पास है ही नहीं बस. So they're going to have a problem. And one thing for certain, Adi, and this is my belief, the corona will touch everyone in our lives. No one is going to escape from this corona. When it comes, one way or the other, if you're vaccinated, you will survive. If you got immunity, you will survive. If you don't have either, all the best.
It's a very Darwinian world that we're living in. So survival of
There's no doubt about it.
Fitness today can be augmented with a small vial of liquid.
Yeah.
If you look at it. Interesting. Sir, coming back to a little bit of the military, I read a small, I won't name who, but I read a small article written by someone. He mentions that there was a certain amount of maneuvering that was done by the Indian Armed Forces in and around the line of action control, which is what resulted in the Chinese coming up and showcasing what they've got in terms of their rocket launchers and what we discussed earlier. What do you think is your opinion for such a hypothesis?
I don't think there's any maneuver carried out. I mean, nothing has come out. What maneuver? Moving troops from place A to place B? No. You are disengaged. The rest of the troops are there. It's very well known that you're rebalancing. So all your troops who are there in Leh and up ahead. Period. So what maneuver are we talking of? Maybe there are not gaps if they're filling up. So that's all. So look, don't expect Indian Army to be sitting on its haunches anymore and waiting कि भाई तुम आ जाओ तुम कर लो जो करना है. I'm sure Indian Army would have gone into a place where see, it's a huge LSC, right? And it's very nice to say it's just 3,000 or 4,000 kilometers, but when you go on ground, you know each kilometer how tough it is. So they must have gotten, if at all. I mean, I don't know. I have not heard of it, so I cannot comment on it. But if at all it is true, they would have maneuvered into a place where they can seek advantage. Or they might be preempting a move. Okay, place a few troops at a place where, if the Chinese do something, we'll do this. Or, you expect the Chinese to come here, so you block them. Or something like that. That's a normal routine thing. It's not, I don't place too much importance on it.
In the larger picture, so would you still keep it as a routine movement by the Chinese in case, and I'm just talking...
At this point of time, I don't visualize Chinese doing anything much. Okay. Because the COVID situation is a little hazy. Number two, everyone expects China. I mean, in the sense, there's no surprise left. You're there. What has happened? It's not disengagement that people have moved back to the barracks. The troops are still there. It's only that eyeball to eyeball situation is taken off in Pangong Tso and Kailash Heights. Nowhere else. Gogra, Depsang are still blocking each other. Nothing has changed. So they can't overnight come and do something funny, which you can't respond equally. So it's not a situation which is out of control, right? And there are no surprises. So I don't think much can happen on that front. How if you say no, will China start a big story when it couldn't do anything when we were not there or had not responded at last year? How do you think it will do anything now? When it does, militarily it goes against the grain. Okay, and then why did China pull back in the first place or agree to this? They didn't want this front to be activated and kept active. Till such time they are facing India actively, right? They are in a two-front situation. Even now, the two-front situation has not gone. It is in their interest that they go back. Only then they can concentrate on Taiwan, which is their first priority. They are not able to do that. They also started showing eyes towards Japan. And Japan has very clearly said that, look, we'll do what we have to do. So China can't do everything everywhere. It has to decide where it wants to do what. Okay, and that was proven last year that it can't do everything everywhere, and that's why it couldn't do much. It could get no headway anywhere. So if they want to come back and start the story with India, it's at the cost of Taiwan. So I don't see much happening. Of course, China is China. They might have some vague ideas and do what they want to do. But they're
Interesting.
prepared for it.
Yeah, I'm
They're
sure.
prepared for it.
That's very interesting. One thing that I don't know comes out of this whole thing is, are they trying to just basically keep this situation alive to save face on their own self? I mean, it could be looked at that way as well. We just didn't run away from the entire battlefield. Yeah, we're still there. This thing is still on, sort of a thing. Just to put it across, either
The
their
one
own.
thing is that they're there. One thing is a fact is that they're there.
Hmm.
And the second thing is they're worried that if they do try and de-escalate, what if tomorrow we go in? See, what has Kailash Range operations done? It has conveyed ambiguity to them.
Hmm.
It is no more a one-way street. They can be surprised. And they also know that they can be surprised badly and they cannot cope with it. So it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. Like I told, we discussed this earlier. Not going to be easy, and slowly that PLS centenary is coming up.
Hmm.
War is a risky business. What if there's a reverse? So if there's a reverse, what will they go and report in that PLS centenary event?
Hmm.
There are political payoffs. Mrs. Xi Jinping will be booted out. They might not. They'll not do anything. I mean, that's my view, and who knows? Their calculations might be totally
Hmm.
different. But I don't think they. Yeah,
Logical person might not, sir. It's
yeah.
just
And they're
logical
not risk takers.
as per se.
What I've seen is they're not. They don't take risk. They don't do anything unless they're very sure that they'll come out victors. They miscalculated, so that's how it is.
Interesting. So, do you think a lot of the people when we talk about India China, we always put down the entire thing by saying we lost our element of surprise in this region, and I mean to an extent I agree with them to an extent. Well, I would believe that the military commanders on the ground would have taken whatever the outcomes into their fold before they took a decision. Nothing would have been done just at the drop of the hat. That's my personal feeling, but I'm not sure what's the situation on the ground. My question is that how does India ensure? See, one of the things that the Chinese pushed across during the Pangong uh, disengagement to their own population is, see, you know what, we've left them be. We don't want to fight right now. They will have a problem in this and that. They played the superior card to their own people. And India, of course, the rhetoric was very high, and I'm sure it would have reached into China, and it did to a large extent because there was some sort of a blowback from there as well. Do you think the easier way of sorting a situation out with a country like China would be to keep things quiet and do whatever needs to be done in the ground and just dissuade and diffuse rather than.
See, yeah, in a way, yes. It's rather than to do things without heating up the situation.
Yes.
Be calm, cool, collected, and talk to them firmly and say get back. Otherwise, you know what it is.
Hmm.
So I think that's how things will happen. Even the Gogra hot springs and all will happen that way only. After a period of time, when they'll find it useless, they'll go back. You'll watch. Slowly, it'll happen. There's no point in getting heated up.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I read one article by General Rakesh Sharma, who was a GOC 14 core,
Hmm.
and he made some interesting points. He says, look, Depsang, whatever that bottleneck, the face off is happening, it's not as if it's a thing which is predated that from 2003 onwards the problem is there.
Correct.
He's very clearly said, no, this it wasn't there. People were patrolling after, but whenever the problem happened, it happened there. Whenever any face off happened, it happened there. And as far as they are concerned, we have blocked them. You are, as far as you are concerned, they have blocked you.
Hmm.
It's a case of mutual blocking. Yeah, the difference might be okay. You're not allowed to go 5 kilometers. He is not allowed to go 2 kilometers. But his 2 kilometers might mean more to him than our 5 kilometers, as per his you know
And,
perception.
hmm.
So it's that bottleneck uh, prohibits him to come to the east also. So it's not a one way street. See, nothing is absolutely crystal clear on all this. So my thing is that yeah, we'll have to be patient and do things. There's no point, every second, third day you say why they're still sitting in Gogra or Depsa. Be patient. Let the people on ground do things. Let them do it.
Agreed, sir. My feelings exactly. So,
Yeah,
lastly,
and, yeah.
please, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Um, what do you think would be the reaction in Beijing when they see the kind of support that India received? And well, the Chinese didn't receive probably a broken phone call from half the world when they went through something like that. And especially at the initial parts of the pandemic, people were very pissed off with China. But when we look at something like this, India, where everybody's cutting off flights and all that from India and all, India, you can take it in a very wrong way, but you also know they're just trying to protect themselves. Nothing wrong with that. What do you think would have gone through Beijing's mind when they see the kind of support that India received from literally around the world? I mean,
Yeah, which is a very important strategic point. It's a message. It's a message to China. Okay, when this whole thing broke out last year in Wuhan,
hmm,
the world was with China. Everyone wanted to help China, right? And everyone did help China, including India. We also sent our help to China. But China, the way it reacted, all that is history. Uh, Today, they've come to a stage where no one wants to help. Ask them anything, which I told you. No one is dependent on them. Everyone is helping India, and there is all democracies are helping each other. Even Russia has come up and said we'll help you. So they have to think. Look, if there is if what is isolation? When you say isolation, how do you feel isolated? This is how you feel isolated.
hmm,
If there's a party going on, I mean, and you're not called for that party, don't you feel isolated? यार मेरे को पूरा बुलाया ही नहीं, ठीक है? 10 people in your street are discussing something, and you go there. They say, यार नहीं नहीं तुम जाओ खुश रहो. That's the thing. How do you feel? So that's how China will feel now. I hope so, right? And that they're not. So that's a very major thing. That's a very major message going to China, right? And if there's another major message which is going to China is, look, if there's one Quad partner in trouble, everyone is going to help that partner. See, today it's a virus. Tomorrow it could be anything else. So
hmm,
okay, so a lot of good things have come out of this. It's a bad thing for India. A lot of people have died. I agree completely. My heart goes out to them. I mean, the kind of scenes I've seen on the TV, made me almost, heavy heart. But having withered that hardship, will come out of it stronger. I'm not talking about government. I'm not talking about government, X government, Y government, one state government or one national government or India.
Mm.
We will come out stronger. This is what I keep saying. A lot of people in social media say, "Oh, you support the government." I don't support the government. Damn it. I support my country.
Yes.
That's more important to me. I mean, I will support the government because the government is my country and my country is my government. That's a different story. But at the same time, I'm prepared to criticize my government, but I cannot criticize my country, which
Correct.
is above everything else.
Correct.
I can't criticize my constitution. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, sir. I mean, I think I would support anybody who's doing good for the country, A, B, C, or D, or E, whoever it is.
Period. Yeah.
And the country comes first, and the names of those parties can always change, and
They can change.
Absolutely right, sir. I think that's a distinct. And secondly, I think I personally felt that it was a very strong message when the Chinese would be quite worried about the growing soft power of India, wherein people are sending across overnight stuff has reached from France, Germany. I mean, Germans did create a little bit of a
that's okay.
expectable, but they also, they reacted very fast. So that would be quite a tough nut to follow.
See, there's another important thing which people must understand. India is going to pull out of this.
Yes.
I mean, there's no doubt. In coping with this situation and pulling out, there's a major lesson which everyone else will learn how to deal with the situation when it comes to them.
Yes. Mm.
They would be saying, yeah, a country like India, which is which is poor, relatively less resources, if it can do whatever it did, what did it do that we have to do to pull out? So there's a big lesson for them.
Mm.
Right? And for all you know, whatever we are doing might lead the world out of this crisis. We might suffer the loss. That's okay.
High cost for.
Yeah, we paid a cost.
Whatever the future holds for us.
Yeah, whatever the future holds for us. We
So
just have to put our head down and go through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, people say India stays strong and so on and so forth. I think it's.
Yeah, India is strong.
India is strong.
Yeah.
And with the kind of stuff one sees in social media, with the way people are helping each other, one thing does come out that the country will fuse together. We are not a divided country like a lot of the democracies are. We will fuse together and we will do stuff together when push comes to shove, apart in certain elements which are always there in any society.
Yeah,
that's fine. So I think this talk is going to provoke a lot of thoughts. It has some in me as well, and I'm going to just sit down and think about these things. It's going to provoke a lot of thoughts by whoever watches this, because it's something, and we spoke about this offline. I personally feel nobody's talking about this particular facet of the situation today. As you said, China's situation is not going to evolve every day, but as I would call us, I mean, you at a very high level, me at a very, very minor level, a China watcher, and we must watch and learn what they're trying to do and how they're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for joining me today, and I'll join up with you once again. Another topic, another day. Till then, take care.
Thank you and take care. And tough times, we should all hold together. Bye.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.